Hello guys, this is Modish Major here, bringing you some live commentary over some Dominion Light live commentary gameplay. I said that sentence extremely confusing and I apologise for that. But either way, it's Dominion Light and I'm going to try it out today. I've been told by one of my fellow Halo commentators that Dominion Light isn't that great, honestly. He said there were a lot of campers on it. It was kind of a little bit frustrating. People were using frustrating loadouts and kind of gimmicky loadouts, and that kind of frustrated me because I was really looking forward to this, to be honest. I've said in previous videos, Ricochet was one of my favourite playlists, and when that went, I was pretty darn depressed about it, so I was hoping that Dominion Light would be the light at the end of the tunnel. I was hoping it would be fun, but unfortunately, Lurker seems to think not. I'll see for myself. I actually played one game on this before, but the live commentary failed, and it was quite a short, rubbish game anyway, so I wasn't too worried about it, but one of the things I'm most excited about this playlist is that it's obviously got a bunch more maps in it, a bunch of new Forge maps that we haven't tested out yet. I played one of the new Forge maps last game. I didn't honestly think it was that amazing. It looked a bit like a flood map, and one of the things that I noticed about the map was that the weapon drops were a little bit OP in my opinion. For example, the saw was one of the weapons that would consistently spawn in places, and I've said previously that I think 343 they underweigh the power of the saw in terms of like tiers, in terms of weapon tiers, in terms of where they put them. Because on Dominion, having a saw in the hill is absolutely dominant, as you'll probably see in this lobby. I'll probably try and get my hands on one. I just think the problem is the game type might kind of like reward you for staying in a hill, but they don't reward you from going from hill to hill. You know, that's what makes Crazy King so good, is that you jump from objective to objective, and as you're doing it, the more you're moving around and the more you're clearing out space, the more you're potentially like opening things up for yourself. Just camping in the hill isn't necessarily the best idea. You've got to navigate around the hill, you've got to move from hill to hill, you've got to be safe and smart and tactical. Whereas Dominion, I just wonder if it's like, you know, if there's a good enough corner, if there's tight enough spaces that you can just get away with being pretty pathetic. But we'll just have to see. I like the way it's working on this map so far. And that Invisional sent me a message at the beginning of this game, so I'm guessing he either knows me or hates me or something like that, and he wants to kill me for either reason, so we'll just have to wait and see. My aim is terrible. This weekend, I actually had a friend round, and we were playing Smash Bros. All weekend, so I'm officially now awful at Halo 4, which is always nice. I have to practice my shots so regularly, or it really will go off. Because honestly, like, tactically, I play pretty darn stupidly, honestly, so my shot is something that I have to rely on and have to have, you know, at an acceptable level, or I'm just going to do terribly. And I think, for me, that's one of the things that bothers me most about Halo 4, is that the aim assist is pretty insane, in my opinion, and it feels like having an insane shot isn't that much of a benefit anymore, which I don't like, because I love the idea of just being able to outplay enemies. It's definitely the most satisfying feeling, you know, out-sniping someone, outplaying someone, out-anything anyone. Another thing is the turrets. The turrets do a lot of damage, and I don't really like that because it's really hard to get past the turrets and then get to the campers inside the hill. There's a lot of fortifications going on, and I just feel like there should be some sort of big disadvantage to being in the Dominion Hill. I don't know how they do that, but I really don't like playlists that do not incentivize movement in any small way. You know, you can, you know, I'm okay with playing smart. I'm not saying there's no such thing as playing smart, no such thing as, you know, playing tactically and not pushing out at the right time. But when you see that, two massive turrets aiming at people, a whole lot of cover, weapon drops consistently spawning in. Like, shouldn't the weapon drops be in the middle of the map or something like that, and not to do with capturing the Dominion, I feel like? Because just having it for staying in one area, you're basically being heavily rewarded for staying in the exact same area, and that's just something that I don't like to do. I'm all about, you know, moving from place to place, trying to be as quick as possible, as swift as possible, but that game type doesn't seem to really reward that in any small way, and it's pretty hard to break through there. Like, if there was any player there, which there wasn't, luckily, they've moved to another hill. I'm trying to bolt shot this guy because I'm a scumbag. I am a definite scumbag. See, he probably sent me a message saying, "Hey, I've seen you. You're a really honorable player." And then he just sees me in game and thinks, "Oh my god, man, it's Major. He's a scumbag. I hate him so much." Because I kind of am. But yeah, I don't actually know what to do with turrets. I don't know if you can deactivate them when you get close, or you just have to melee them. I'm just going to melee them, set it on fire. Almost killed myself, fantastically enough. But yeah, I just think like movement options should be better, like explored in this game type. And you know, like even there at B, you've got like height control for staying in one place as well. So not only you've got height control, you've got fortifications. Not B, sorry, A is what I meant. Height control, fortifications, weapons if you need them, and it's sort of almost like becoming like an infection, where like, oh, infection, you can go out and you can try and, you know, kill the zombies and go on a murder spree, but you're kind of better off just camping in a corner and picking people off when they go past you. And that's fine for infection, because that's a fun, you know, mess around game type. But when, you know, you're putting CSR into a playlist, when it's about, you know, trying to play the objective, trying to aid your team, trying to do this, blah, 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 having the best option to be stay in a place, I'm not really so sure about that. And at the very least, I think it should be hard. Like, I feel like the people on the aggressive should have advantages to some extent. Attacking advantage, aggressive advantages. And I suppose on the other map that I played, you do get vehicles, so that kind of helped out. You get lightweight vehicles, and you see a lot of people getting ghosts, driving up the hill and trying to attack places. That kind of makes sense. What an idiot. He knew it wasn't going to work, but he still did it anyway, just for lols. But, you know, I just think there should be more aggressive options and potentially less defensive options. Because, to me, defensive gameplay is not fun, especially in Halo. It's just, like I said, it's all about, you know, moments like that. It's pushing someone off the top of a hill, killing them, taking over the place. So I'm actually going to capture a place because I'm a great guy. Because we are losing right now. That's not good. But I certainly like it more. I like the feel of it more than regular Dominion. And maybe if I can pour a little bit more time into it and get a bit better, play a bit smarter. Oh, he choked hard. And then maybe I'll enjoy it and find some sort of enjoyment from it. But I definitely think it could do with some adjustments. And truthfully, you know, okay, this is going to sound bad, because in Titanfall I hated this idea. I hated the idea that they copy and pasted Domination into Titanfall, and they really didn't change anything. It just became Hardpoint. And Hardpoint was another name for Domination, and it was essentially the same thing. And really, you know, with this, I almost kind of wish they did copy and paste it, because it's such a different game that the entire metagame would be changed regardless. In Titanfall, the combat, the way the weapons felt, you know, the only things that were different were the Titans and the actual movement options for players on foot. But it wasn't drastically different. A lot of the times, the best things to do on Titanfall were to take up defensive options, to, you know, stand on top of buildings, and to play in a sort of Call of Duty playstyle. But Halo, that's never really going to happen. It's going to be different all the time. Halo, you can't, like, stare down an alleyway and wait for people to come, and then they're going to get killed when they walk around the corner. And, you know, having these turrets there kind of adds to that, and having, you know, constant weapon spawns, it kind of makes that Call of Duty feel of like, oh, I've walked around the corner, there's the objective, I'm going to walk up to it, but nope, they've got too good a perimeter set up, and I'm instantly going to get killed. And that's not a fun thing to have in Halo. Like, Halo, the best thing is that you don't have to put up with that. And I'll constantly say, you know, making games work more like Call of Duty is never going to be a good idea. Everyone thinks just because Call of Duty is wildly successful that you have to emulate those properties. But the thing that makes Call of Duty successful, and especially to begin with, is that it was different from anything else on the market at the time. And Halo still has that trait, but it's losing that trait of individuality, and as a result, it's becoming more and more like invisible on the market. It's just becoming less relevant in today's market, because it's trying to become this awkward hybrid of taking a couple of Call of Duty elements, taking a couple of Crysis elements, and just not knowing its place in FPS, not knowing what it's trying to set out to do. And I think if they went, you know, more back to arena roots, there's no real arena style combat game on the console, and a lot of the arena games that tried to come onto console didn't work. They failed, like Nexus, for example. You know, I love Nexus, but I have to admit that it was restricted by the fact that you couldn't aim at a fast rate like on the PC, and you couldn't move as swiftly. The controls weren't built for that. But Halo was built for it. Halo was built for Xbox controller, and it still works in an arena shooter format. You don't have to, be insanely quick. You don't have to have this ridiculous PC aim, because it's more about teamwork, positioning, etc. And it doesn't need to be, Unreal Tournament ridiculous stuff. That was a bit of a rant, but I hope you guys see where I'm coming from. Whether or not Dominion Light is going to become a standout playlist for me is kind of on the table right now. I probably prefer it to Team Slayer even then. I think Team Slayer is just, it's becoming a bit of a failure. Adrift Infinity Slayer is pretty much dominating the playlist options, and everyone's picking it constantly. It's pretty annoying, whereas this is at least a chance to play a couple of new maps, try out some new weapons, and have a bit of fun with it. So I don't know, you guys give it a try, tell me what you think from your first impressions, and I'll probably come back to this playlist in the future with more in-depth thoughts. Anyway, I've been Modest Major, thank you guys for watching, peace.